I know this is like a thing people did 3 years ago, but I wanted to make one for all of you. I'm not a good drawer at all, like I'm actually really horrible at it, so I hope you enjoy my silly drawing. Let's start from the very beginning. I was born on February 2nd, 1996 and grew up in a small town called Saugus, which is really close to Boston. Because most, if not all of you know that I'm transgender, I was born with a different name than I have now. So it wasn't Samuel Justin Collins, but it was something different, which I won't mention until the future. I cringe just saying this, but I grew up as a girl on the outside. I also grew up with just my mom and no siblings. It was always just the two of us. Not to mention, I've lived in the same house my entire life. I still live here. We never moved. Moving along, I always knew I was different growing up. My mom did too. I had these attachment issues whenever I was away from my mom. I just couldn't be away from her when I was a kid. It was like, if she wasn't by my side, I wanted to die. It wasn't that dramatic, but I would cry the entire day when I was younger. I remember this one time in preschool, my mom was dropping me off to class. She was holding me in her arms and brought me into the class. The teacher had to literally rip me away from her because I wouldn't let her leave. I'm sure I did that so many times in my past, but it's hard to remember. And if you're wondering, no, nobody has to rip me from my mom anymore. In elementary school, which is grades 1 through 5 here, I had a decent amount of friends. I was a little bit of a quiet and weird kid, but I was still able to make friends. Most of the children were nice to me and they respected me. That all changed in middle school, but I'm gonna get into that later. As I was saying, I had a good handful of friends. We got along well and we would always hang out. Towards the end of the 5th year, I wasn't left with much because I started to change. I always felt this difference inside of me that I kept to myself. And yes, I'm talking about being trans if you're lost. Me being trans plays a huge role in my growing up. Also, fun fact, I met my dad at 8 years old. So I lost many of my friends when I began middle school because I was really quiet and reserved. And not to mention weird, because apparently being quiet means you're weird. Anyways, I'm not going to use real names of people in this video, so here's a made up one. Sarah. I met Sarah at a summer camp in middle school. It was always me and Sarah together. We were both the weird kids and everyone hated us. They actually hated us, like they came up with all different nicknames to call us and probably harassed us every single day. That started to tear me down, as it would with any kid. I got bullied verbally, never physically, but that can still tear a person down so much. An everyday occasion that Sarah and I had to go through was walking into the cafeteria in middle school. As soon as we entered, a bunch of people would yell things at us or throw things at us. This actually sounds like it's from a movie. So I guess my life is a movie. I didn't think too much of it. We would just walk by and not pay attention. But we were probably officially the losers of the school. Middle school is such a long experience for me. I was actually living a Hannah Montana life at the same time. I know. While all of this was going on at school, I would come home, open my laptop, and stay on it for the rest of the night. I used all those old websites before Twitter or any social media was even being used. I would go online and pretend to be a boy. I was a catfish. Yes, I was a catfish. A girl behind a computer telling people she was a boy. But look at me now. I think that girl was right. Besides all that, I could feel myself struggling within myself. I started to become really depressed at the age of 13 and I hated every single thing about myself. I knew exactly how I was feeling and I thought it was messed up. I liked girls my entire life. I always had an attraction to them, so I thought, oh, I'm a lesbian. I didn't know what transgender was. I didn't know it existed. But I had this feeling inside of me and it was just like I felt like a boy. I had this feeling my entire life. It just wasn't as clear when I was younger because it's not a regular feeling people go through. So every single night when I was a kid, I used to pray that I would wake up as a boy. And I never did. I also used to pray for $1 million and that never happened either. But eventually, I figured out exactly what transgender was from an online post, and I knew what to label myself as. I was so happy that I could find an answer to the feeling I've been struggling with my entire life, but that wasn't the end of it. I was terrified of telling anybody. It's hard to tell someone you're a different gender than you seem to be. It's not easy for anyone to understand, not even myself. Now that middle school was over with, these are where my dark days begin. Yes, my dark days, my high school hell days. I was depressed for a very long time and I wanted to disappear, but I knew I was stronger than that. High school was an absolute nightmare. I knew who I was and what I was comfortable with, and it was not presenting myself as a female for the world to see. But I still haven't said anything to anyone because I was terrified. I was convinced that this feeling would wear off in middle school, even the whole liking girls thing. So in 9th grade, I attempted to be everything a girl is. Also, disclaimer, I didn't transition until I was 16 years old. Makeup, liking boys, and anything feminine. Well, clearly that didn't work because, do you hear my voice? It lasted a few months, and then I got a crush on this really, really pretty girl. I'll call her Jamie. In high school, I didn't have too many friends, just a few close ones, and people wouldn't pick on me as much. And if they did, it was definitely behind closed doors. The only thing I would look forward to at school were my friends, lunch, and staring at Jamie. I knew then and there I really couldn't fight what I'm feeling. I remember my mom would pick me up from school and ask me, "Do you think any boys are cute at school?" And I would get so angry with her. It's not a normal response you expect from your daughter or girls in general. No, I didn't find any of them cute. I had the biggest crush on a girl with a boyfriend. That's what happened. As my high school career passes on, I started to become more confident in how I felt. I had my whole life planned out. I want to transition into a boy at 16, switch schools, change my name, just the whole package of transitioning. I knew what I wanted, and I began accepting myself because I was sick of living for other people. I wasn't going to live in misery because I was scared of what people might say or do anymore. I needed to live how I felt because if I didn't, I might just do something stupid. So at the end of 10th grade, when I was about 15, I came up to my mom as FTM transgender. No, it was not easy. It took a long time for me to do it. It took my whole fucking life to say something. She accepted me, my friends accepted me, my family accepted me besides that one side, but that doesn't matter because I have more acceptance than denial. It took a long time for some people to understand, but they eventually did, and I was super happy. I really can't explain the feeling of happiness. So as 10th grade ended, summer began. The exact date I got my haircut was July 20th, 2012. That was the beginning of my transition, but I got my haircut and I looked like Justin Bieber from 2010, but that wasn't a bad thing. And do you guys remember Sarah, the best friend I was talking about earlier? Well, it turns out she felt the exact same way her entire life too, so we went through this together. We're practically the same person and still are today. I switched high school 4 times. It was absolute hell getting my name changed and everything changed for this transition. My mom actually had an entire school shut down for a day because they were so transphobic that they had to have all the staff at the school in a meeting to listen to a presentation about how to treat trans students. Apparently, I was the only trans kid trying to enter that school, and no, I did not go back there. I finally got into a high school that was accepting and treated me with respect and called me by the correct pronouns and correct name. Also, I began testosterone in July 2013, and that shit has changed my life so much. I began YouTube in 2012, but I didn't upload to it much because I didn't really care about it. I would upload every few months because I thought I was funny, and then it died out. I stopped uploading. I don't have a million subscribers, but I do know that I love every single 60,000 of you. Now, present day, here we are drawing my life out to share with you. What I really want you guys to take from this video is inspiration. I went through so much struggling with myself that I thought I wouldn't even make it to age 20. And I know some of you get bullied at school and it completely sucks, but I think everybody goes through it. But just leave this video with a smile on your face because we all go through some crazy shit. I'm so happy about my transition and there's only so much more positive things to look forward to. I hope you guys do have a great day and I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave me a like and a comment and tell me what you thought about this because this is different. Don't tell me my drawing is shit though because, I mean, did you watch the video? But yeah, I love you guys and I will see you next Sunday.